In this slideshow, we're going to be talking about food webs and food chains. Organisms interact in many different ways within an ecosystem. Sometimes they compete with each other for resources, food, and space. Sometimes they work together in symbiotic relationships. And as we know, sometimes they feed on each other. Interactions where one organism eats another are often called food chains and food webs. A food chain is a series of organisms that eat one another so that energy and nutrients flow from one to the next. For example, if you eat a hamburger, your food chain would look like grass going to cow going to human. We eat many different things, as do most other organisms. So, for example, if you put lettuce on your burger, you're going to be part of a whole other food chain. That food chain would look like lettuce going to human. In order to be able to show all the different things that organisms eat and get eaten by, we use things called food webs to show that. It's not easy to show what living things eat in one straight line, in one linear pathway. So the food webs help us demonstrate all the different things that we eat and that eat us. So basically, a food web consists of many intersecting food chains, and it represents the different things an organism can eat and be eaten by. So for an example, a mouse eats multiple different plants. So it's part of a food chain for each plant that it can consume or does consume. Mice also get eaten by many different predators. Mice get eaten by snakes, hawks, owls, cats, a bunch of different things. So depending on what they get eaten by, they're part of that food chain as well. Food webs are just a way for us to more accurately show all the different relationships that they are part of within an ecosystem. This is an example of a food web. As you can see here, this is your baseline, these are your producers, they create their own energy. You can see that these guys get eaten by any one of these organisms here, right? So they are part of a different food chain for each one of these organisms. Then these guys can be eaten by any one of these guys. So they're then part of a food chain for each one of those as well. So you might have one going from green algae to mollusk to rainbow smelt. You may also have one that goes from green algae to native water flea to rainbow smelt or to alewife. So green algae is part of many different food chains, as are everything else in this food web. And this is just a way to show all the different connections, who can eat what, that kind of thing. There are a bunch of different parts of a food chain. The first part, as you saw in the picture before, these arrows here are pointing in the direction that the energy and nutrients in a food chain or food web are flowing. So the diatoms have energy that they make, and when they get eaten by a zebra mussel, the zebra mussel is the one that gets the energy. That's why the arrow is pointing in that direction. The base of a food chain is what we call the producers, because they produce their own energy. Another name for this is autotrophs. And they are most often plants and algae. Then you have your next level, and these are your first level consumers. These guys tend to be herbivores or vegetarians. They eat plant and algae. And sometimes omnivores, because omnivores are things that eat both plants and animals. Then your next level is your second level consumers. These guys tend to be carnivores that only eat meat, as well as some omnivores, but they have to be omnivores that are eating the first level consumers. So your second level consumers are things that are eating the first level. Then your next level is your third level consumers. These tend to be carnivores that eat your second level consumers. Again, you can have some omnivores in this category. Then the final top level has fourth level consumers. These guys are also called your apex predators, and they tend to be carnivores with not a whole lot of stuff that eats them. Finally, we have the decomposers. These can fit in at any point in the food chain. It all depends on when the organisms in the food chain die or excrete waste. A way they do this is by pooping. Decomposers are things that eat dead and decaying organisms, as well as their wastes. So this level isn't always shown in food chains, but they may be part of a food chain that goes from, flour to mouse to decomposer, because if the mouse dies before anything eats it, it doesn't get to pass on its energy to any of the other levels in the food chain. This is an example of a food chain. You can see where it's only one linear pathway. It's in one straight line. It can't go all the way over here to something else. It is just one pathway of consumption. So this is the food web where you show all the different pathways. And a food chain is just a simplified one pathway version of it. So here you have your producer. This guy creates its own energy. There's your first level consumer. This guy eats the green algae, it eats the producer, so that's why the arrow's pointing in that direction, because the energy and the nutrients are flowing that way. Then you have your second level consumer that's eating the first level consumer, so the energy and nutrients are flowing that way. And then you have your third level consumer, and this guy eats the second level consumer, the energy and the nutrients are flowing that way. So this is a food chain showing one linear pathway. This is a food web showing all the different pathways, or at least multiple. I'm sure there's more. So food chains cannot go on forever. They're not actually very efficient. Energy levels that get passed on to each part of the chain limits the length. So a lot of people think that your top dogs, your apex predators, your fourth level consumers are ones that get the most energy, but that's not true. Aside from the producer, because they make their own energy, the first level consumers are the ones that get the most energy. So your vegetarians actually get more energy from what they eat than from people who eat meat. So what happens is when energy enters a level of the food chain, some of that energy gets stored within the organism's body. The stuff that gets stored is stuff that they're not using and they're not losing as wastes or heat. So the energy that they store in their bodies for later is what's available for the next level of the food chain. So when something comes along and eats it, the thing that ate it gets that energy, and the rest of the energy that it had before is used to grow, move, function, and is also lost. So roughly 10% of the energy that is stored within an organism's body gets passed on to the next level. So, which is not a lot, because out of 100%, only 10% of it gets passed on. The rest either gets used or lost. Here's an example to show you what I mean. So you have your producer. This is your plant that's making its own energy. It has 100% of the energy because it is making it for itself. It's not relying on anything else to get it. So it's made its own energy, it's made its own nutrients. This here is just a unit of energy, so I'm just going to say unit of energy. So it starts with 100% of the energy, which is roughly 20,000 units of energy. This is stuff that they're storing. So some of that energy gets lost as heat, some of it gets used in order to grow, to change, to function as a plant. Then your first level consumer comes along and crunches and munches on your primary producer. They only get 10% of this original amount of energy. Okay, so when they eat the primary producer, when they eat the plant, the energy is going towards them, but they only get 2,000, because 2,000 is 10% of 20,000. If you don't believe me, do the math. Multiply 20,000 by 0.1. You will get 2,000. So they only get 2,000 units of energy out of the original 20,000. Then you have your second level consumers that come along and eat your first level consumers. These guys have already used some of this 2,000 units of energy, and they've lost some of it as heat and as well as waste. So when your second level consumer eats them, they only get 10% of this 2,000, which is 200 units of energy. They use some of that energy, and some of it gets lost as heat and waste. And when your third level consumer comes along and eats these guys, they only get 10% of the 200. So they only get 20 units of energy. You can see the difference. We're already only at 20 units of energy compared to the 20,000 units of energy we had before. So these guys use some of that energy and they lose some of that energy. And then your fourth level consumer, your apex predator, comes along, crunches and munches on these guys, and they end up only getting 10% of the 20, which is 2. So you only get 2 units of energy when you are the top dog. They use some of that, they lose some of that. When they eventually die, the decomposers get whatever is left over, which would be roughly 10% of 2. You can see how inefficient this is. So your fourth level consumers, your top dogs, your apex predators, often have to eat so much more in order for them to get the energy that they need to properly function. So it's not very efficient. Decomposers get different amounts of energy depending on what they're eating. So if your primary producer dies before it gets eaten by anything else, your decomposer is going to be getting 2,000 units of energy, right? Because they died before they got eaten to this. So the energy that's left over gets passed on to the decomposers. And it's the same for all the other levels. So decomposers can get any amount of energy at any point. It just depends on when these organisms die. They also get some of the energy from the wastes that come out of the bodies. So the poop, they break down the poop. So why does so much energy get lost? Well, first of all, they use it, right? Some of it doesn't get lost, they use it. Everything needs energy in order to function. We need it to move, we need it to grow, we need it to digest, we need it to pump blood through our body. We need energy for everything that we do, and so do most other organisms. Also, for each level of the food chain, a lot of energy that has been consumed gets let out as heat. So we have, our body temperatures are regulated, right? Where we have a certain body temperature. If you touch your skin, oftentimes it's warm to the touch. That is energy being lost through our bodies as heat. And this happens with most other living things as well. Also, when things are being consumed, there are parts of some of the organisms that we eat and that other things eat that cannot be digested. You know, some stomachs just can't digest everything. And this stuff that we can't digest properly gets lost as waste or poop. The energy that was in these parts of the things that we're eating also gets lost. So it's not just the nutrients, it's the energy that was in those parts as well. For an example is corn. Our bodies can't digest corn. So when you go to the bathroom and you poop and there's corn there, you're also losing the energy that was in those bits of corn that you were not able to digest. Another reason some energy gets lost in a food chain is that not all organisms get eaten by the next level up. Some die before then, and they get broken down by decomposers. So originally, if a food chain goes from a plant to a mouse to a snake, and is supposed to go to a hawk, but doesn't happen because the snake dies beforehand. So these are some of the different ways that energy can get lost, and overall, this is how food chains and food webs work.